Very good. Let me answer this. I've answered this several hundred times, but always one-on-one. I don't believe, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe I've ever answered this next question on a live stream. And it's an important one. It is Namaste Acharyaji. What is the origin of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? I never got a clear answer on this from temple management in ISKCON. Very good. And neither will you ever get a clear answer. Let me tell you, I have had discussions about this with not temple management. I won't name their names, but some of the top gurus in ISKCON who are alive today, one of whom was one of the original 11 gurus who took over immediately after Prabhupada. I have had this discussion with members of the GBC. And not only did some of them attempt to give me, again, the runaround like others have with you, several of them admitted to me that what I'm about to explain is indeed correct. So what I'm about to tell you is not conjecture, it's not sectarian opinion. Indeed, those leaders of ISKCON who were honest, including some very big authors, again, I'm not going to name their names, one author who I've known myself for close to maybe 45 years, roughly 40 years, something like that, they all admitted that I was correct in what I'm about to say to you. There is no Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It does not exist. Now, let me explain before people get very riled up in the audience. Number one, Mahamantra. Again, specifically, I asked one of the first 11 gurus, who is still a guru in ISKCON, who has many thousands of disciples. I asked him face to face. Literally, he was about 4 feet away, maybe 3 feet away from me. This was in Los Angeles, roughly 1998. Maharaja, can you please explain to me where the term Mahamantra is found anywhere in the Vedic scriptures, and specifically associated with what you call the Hare Krishna mantra? Needless to say, he couldn't. He could not in any way, shape, or form. This was an individual who was, I believe, about to, or maybe he just finished completing his PhD. He knew Sanskrit, etc., etc. And I then said to him, Maharaja, here's my email address. He knew my email address. I was doing this for dramatic form back then. Maharaja, here's my email address. When you find such a reference, please send it to me. That was 1998. I still haven't heard back from him. There is no such thing as the Mahamantra. That's not found in the Vedic scriptures. And again, I've challenged many people. For those who are riled up in the audience, I've challenged people smarter than you. And they cannot give me an answer on this. It does not exist, and especially associated with the Hare Krishna mantra. Now, all that being said, there is a mantra in the Kali Santara Upanishad that is there. And the mantra is, and this is the exact mantra that is written. Now online, some sneaky people have tried to change it because digitized, you can change anything. But I have the actual physical books, many people do. The mantra is Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. This is the correct mantra. So indeed, the Rama portion comes first, the Krishna portion comes after. This is the mantra as it exists in the Vedic scripture. The other way around, i.e. how ISKCON teaches it, does not exist in the Vedic scripture. And again, if some individual wants to go to some ISKCON website where they supposedly have a translation of this Upanishad and copy that, paste it, and send it to us and say, oh, you see? No, I will show you a print version that I have in my library. I actually have quite a few print versions in my library where, no, the Hare Rama comes first. Again, online, you can change anything. And it has been changed, very sadly. This is one drawback of having Vedic scriptures digitized, where again, a person can go in and do whatever they want, versus it being in print form, what to speak of the original Sanskrit. I have the original Sanskrit. And indeed, any Vedic scholar, any academician, any professor of religious studies who knows Sanskrit will confirm without hesitation what I am saying. So all this being said, again, the correct mantra is Hare Rama comes first, then Hare Krishna. This was altered in the early 1700s, roughly give or take a decade, because again, I'm going on memory. I did the research myself. Many people have actually. Approximately 1730, give or take a decade. Again, I'm going by memory of 35 years ago when I first encountered this. The mantra was switched, where the Hare Krishna came first, then the Hare Rama. The reason why it was switched was because in the Mathura area, there was a challenge to the early Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They were teaching the mantra correctly, Hare Rama and then Hare Krishna. They were teaching it correctly in Gaudiya Vaishnavism up until roughly the 1730s. What happened, and this is all documented, there are court records that show this. Again, this is not speculation. I have a PhD. I've seen this all. Any person with a PhD who has studied Sanskrit, who is what some people would call an Indologist, today we call them specialists in South Asia, South Asian religion, languages, etc. Anyone with that expertise will confirm what I'm about to tell you. So there was the Maharaja of Mathura. He was approached by a group of Orthodox Brahmanas who were upset that the Gaudiyas were giving initiation to Shudras, and they were giving them what was a Vedic mantra, a mantra recognized in the Upanishads. Well, the king chastised the Gaudiyas, and he said, "You cannot do this." Baladeva Vidyabhushana, who was one of their leaders at the time, came to the king. They had negotiations, and finally Baladeva Vidyabhushana said to the king, "Maharaja, we understand. What about this? What if we were to change the mantra slightly, say Hare Krishna first and then Hare Rama? That way, it's still the same mantra, but it's not officially the Vedic mantra as it exists in the Shruti literature. Would that be acceptable?" The Orthodox Brahmanas thought about this, and they said, yes, that will be acceptable. And that's when the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is when that mantra in that form was born. And again, for those individuals who are Orthodox ISKCONites out there and they're throwing their hands over their ears right now, etc., no, all the evidence is there. Again, I've spoken to top leaders. Oh, I can name them. You'll recognize their names immediately. I've spoken to top leaders of ISKCON, GBC people, top gurus in ISKCON. Again, either they would not say anything, and several of them indeed admitted that this is the story. Several of them. People on the GBC, gurus, one extremely prolific ISKCON author who's been writing for, again, something like 40 years, who has dozens and dozens of books out. I had a personal conversation with him in New York decades ago, where he actually told me the story that I just told you. And he is an Orthodox ISKCONite, very respected. So indeed, doubt me if you wish, due to blind fanaticism, that is the truth. This is the origin of the Hare Krishna mantra. Now, all that being said, now I have to talk about the all-important spiritual aspect of this. This historic change having in fact come about, again, early 1700s. Does this mean that chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, indeed, as taught by ISKCON, does this mean that, this is now ineffective? Absolutely not. I've said this to hundreds and hundreds of ISKCON and former ISKCON devotees. I've said to them, no, this is the name of Krishna. If you wish to say the Hare Krishna mantra the way it is said in ISKCON and meditate upon the Hare Krishna mantra, please do so. And if you do so with devotion, you can have liberation. These are the names of Krishna. They are ever liberating. However, technically speaking, you cannot claim that the Hare Krishna mantra is a Vedic mantra. Vedic means revealed in Shruti without change. the mantra that is revealed in Shruti, that is in the Upanishad, without change in the original is Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So again, you can say it either way, and you will have benefit. But if you want to say the Vedic mantra, say it the way that I just said it, and meditate on it in that way. So I hope that answers the question for you.